Hello everyone! In today's video we will work with HTML and CSS. This is going to be a fun session where I show you how we can build these fixed height cards using HTML, CSS and FlexBox, and how to work with design files. We will make them responsive, so check out the final result. Now that the holiday season is coming, it's probably a nice time to have something nice and sweet. I created this section of our cocktail selection. Maybe we can fit this section into a future website about a bar venue or so, but for now, we will only build this feature. Prerequisites for this video. You need a computer, an ID like Visual Studio Code, or any block notes actually, and some basic knowledge of HTML and CSS. And more than basic knowledge, you just need to know what HTML and CSS are. If you know what these two are, then that's enough. And if you don't, I have a video here which is 3 minutes long, only 3 minutes, where I explain what HTML, CSS and JavaScript are using an analogy. As I mentioned earlier, there are two main reasons why I created this video. We are going to learn to work with some basic CSS and with FlexBox. Something that I hear a lot from really good developers is that they are not great with CSS or they don't enjoy it as much as working with JavaScript, for example, or any other language. But CSS is such an important part of having a good, user-friendly and pretty website. So it's important to dedicate time to learn it and to love it. I love working with CSS, so maybe it's easy for me to say. But I also remember when I was at uni, my teachers didn't teach me the latest and coolest features that CSS has. We used to build everything using tables, so if you are at that point, let me tell you that tables are really out of date. It's important to learn how they work and what they do, because there are some instances that maybe that's your only option, but in general, when you are building websites now, you wouldn't use them, I think. There are other cool features that we can use instead, and that is display flex. Display has become one of the ways to go when we want to build more complex layouts easily, and it completely changed the way interfaces work. But we'll talk more about that later. Okay, the second reason for this video is that I'm going to show you how you can work with design files. If you are learning to code or you are starting in a company as a junior developer, you must learn to work with designers and with their tools. You don't need to be an expert with these tools, but you need to know where to look so you can find out the specifications of the designs. There are different tools that designers can use to produce their sketch. We have Sketch, XD from Adobe, and Figma. I'm going to use Figma because it's free and easy to use, so it will allow you to create an account for free. They include only 3 words, but that should be enough. So let's go to Figma. So this is what we have in Figma. This is what you will see. You're going to see here, like, this is the frame that we are using, which is the resolution of a MacBook Pro 16. And what we have is a title at the top with our cocktail selection. This could be a H2, as this will only be a section of a website. So yeah, I'll say this is a H2. And then in each card we have an image. We have like the author here of the photo. I download all of these photos from Unsplash, so I thought might as well just give the credit to the photographers here. And then we have the title of each cocktail, the description, which I took from Wikipedia, and then a read more button, okay? So as we can see here, all of this text, they don't have the same length, okay? So this one, for example, is a lot longer than this one here, but nevertheless, the button here stays in the same position. So it's not like this, okay? So it looks a little bit more tidy and neat. And the idea is, so this is how it looks in desktop. And the idea is that when you hover over one, let me show you. When you hover over one, we will have a card like this standing up a little bit, okay? So this is the idea. This is how it will look when we hover over. And then if we move to the mobile version, we can see here this design, right? Okay, so as I was saying, it's important to learn to work with these softwares, and it's really easy to use. So we can see here each group is each card. I mean, if a designer send you this, they will probably send you this like named, like proper name, which it will really help a lot. Now we are only learning how to use it a little bit, so I didn't spend the time just naming everything, but yeah, you could expect that most designers probably would, which is helpful, right? So, okay, so let's have a look at each card. Here we have an image at the top, and if we look here in this sidebar at the right-hand side of our screen, we have that the width of this image is 336 pixels and the height 85. This is a little bit like approx, okay? Sometimes they don't need to be exactly, but it depends in which areas. But this is the size of our image. Then we had a title here. I will say that this is a H3, which is 24 pixels, and we are using the font face thin condensed. Then we have the text that is 16 pixels, and here we can see that we are using a different font and is regular. And then we have this read more button, and we can have access to, for example, here the stroke. This is the borderline. So we have here the color, and something quite nice as well is that you see here how we have a box shadow. If we click here and we go to the layer where we are applying this box shadow, we can click here, and if you click here in this kind of sun icon, you can see the specification exactly. So it's telling us that it's 0 in the X, it's 4 in the Y, it's 57 blur, and I guess this is, yeah, spread, -2. Okay, so as you can see here, we can have a specific the dimensions or the font size or the colors that the designers use, so we can imitate as much as possible the designs. And when we hover over, we are going to make this card a little bit bigger, and this box shadow is a little bit darker. So if we inspect this element again and we click here in the sun, we can see that the specification here is different. I think, let me just double check. Yeah, so here we have 11% as opacity, and if we go to this one is 17, so it's a slightly darker version. Okay, so and when our screens are a bit smaller, like in a mobile size, we are going to have a card that is full width. So this is how it's going to look like, okay? So, and there are more things that you can have a look here. You can come here and play around. And this design is quite simple, but you probably will have to work with designs more complicated. So you'll make a better use of all of these features that you have here. And you can also see the prototype. So for example, if I click here, I can see how it will look like in a laptop. So you have a better idea. And yeah, I think this is enough for now. We probably will come back to this design when we are building the CSS just to carry on comparing. But for now, this is all I wanted to show you how to work with Figma, okay? And just one more thing, I'm just realizing that you see here how we have a group and we have a rectangle, and we have this icon. This means a mask, okay? So when you see this means like we have an image that is filling in the space of this rectangular that is working as a mask. So for example, if we change the size here, we can see how our image just expands or gets reduced, okay? And yeah, okay. So let's start by creating our new project, okay? I'm going to come here. I'm already in a folder in my terminal where I want to create my project, but feel free to just navigate across your terminal and find the folder where you want to create it, okay? So here I'm going to say mk there. This is to create a new directory. So I'm gonna call this CSS feature, CSS cards feature. Okay, so I'm just going to go inside, so ls css, and then if I press in tab, it's going to autocomplete for me. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm just gonna open it like this, open dot, and you can see here how my folder was created and it's empty at the moment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, so touch, and then I'm going to call it index.html. Sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to create a folder inside here that is going to be styles. And then let me just show you how this is looking like. Oh, okay, sorry. So I'm not really, oh, am I? Okay, so I wasn't inside my file, okay? So let's just come here. I'm just gonna move it inside. Okay, so every time that you want to know where you are is ls, sorry, I type ls rather than cd. Okay, so to get inside a folder, you can type cd and then the name, and as I was saying, if you press in tab, it will autocomplete for you, and now I should be inside my folder. Yes, I am, and I created a folder is styles. I'm just gonna move it inside. And if you want to open the folder in your Finder, you could type open dot like here, but if you want to open it in your Visual Studio Code, for example, you can type code dot, and just like this, it will open. And I'm able to do this because I installed a line command for it. So if you want to be able to open your project in your Visual Studio Code, you could type Command Shift P, and then here you type you look for shell command install code. And if you install this, I already have it installed, you're going to be able to open code dot. If you're using another ID, I'm not sure how that works, because I usually use this one or sometimes Sublime, but I would really recommend you to use Visual Studio Code because it's a professional tool and it's free. So, and if you want to install it, you can come to Google and you can say Visual Studio Code. You can come here and you just choose whether you want to install it for Windows, Mac, or probably Linux, and yeah, just go ahead and install it, okay? Okay, so now you can see here our styles and our index. So let's just start by creating our HTML. So for that, I'm just gonna type HTML like this. Oh no, okay. And I'm just gonna click here in HTML5 boilerplate. I'm just gonna show you everything that is going to create for us. All of this, okay? So I think I have an extension installed, and that's why I can just create it like this. So let me just show you what I have installed, so you don't have to come here and manually create everything. Which, if you are starting, is probably better, maybe, yeah, so you get used to, so up to you. If you want to stop the video and and write all the HTML code, go ahead. Otherwise, you can come here and you have this extension, HTML boilerplate, so just install it. Maybe you need to rerun your Visual Studio Code, like closing and opening again, but yeah. Okay, so here we have our head. I hope you have a little bit of knowledge of HTML, yes, let's just quickly go through it really quickly, okay? So this is our HTML tags. We need this in order for our browser to read this document, okay? So for our browser to recognize this as a HTML, so we need to specify here the doc type HTML, and then we need to wrap all of our HTML code within these tags, okay? So at the top we have our head. Our head is where it's going to be everything that is like the information of our website. So everything that we want the browser to see, but we don't want the users to see. So our description, information about viewport, and here is where we link our CSS, and then we have the body. This is where all our content is going to live. We will have here, if you were building our site, the header, all the different sections, the footer, and the aside article sections, and so on. And then here is where we can include scripts. So you can include JavaScript in different ways. You can put it within the body, you can put it within the head, and there are like some situations where you will do one thing or you will do the other one, but we won't focus today on that, okay? I think I'm going to create a video just focusing on JavaScript, so stay tuned. Right, okay, so let's start by remove this, and we are going to create here a section, okay? A new section. This is going to be a section for our cocktail selection. And our section is going to have a H2, as we said. Okay, so if we come here, if we feel lazy and we don't want to write our cocktail selection, we could come here and just clicking copy, or just select the text, double click in the element. Okay, and then you can copy this text. You can copy one section or all of it, okay? So, and just by the way, sometimes when you're working with a design team and they have accounts, you probably, if you're a developer, you might not have an account to edit the designs, because for different reasons. Once, because they probably don't want the developers to make changes by mistake, and two, because probably the company don't want to have to pay for accounts for people that they don't need it, like developers. So you'll probably have a slightly different account where you are able to view these designs, but you're not able to edit. In these situations, you will click in this element, and here it will be a section where you could just copy the text. It will be a new section for the text and a button of copy the text. So it will be as simple as that. So you don't have to come here and double click to copy, or come here and double click to copy. So this is just a FYI in case you are starting to work with designers, okay? So let's go back to our code, and let's just tap here, our cocktail. Let's just correct this. And let's just save this for now, and let's just open it in the browser. So to open this, we can just, if it's an HTML file, it's really simple. We could come to our folder where we have the HTML, clicking open with, and Google Chrome. And let me just copy this because this opens a different tab. Okay, so this is our website. We can see here our H2. See that I have an extra, okay, so let me just remove this, probably wrote that by mistake, and we need to refresh. Every time that we make a change, when we are working with HTML and CSS, we need to refresh the page. Actually, let's just put this here, and let's just make this bigger. So, whoa, this is a bit too big for me, but like this. So I just want to make sure you can read the code properly, okay? So we have a title. I'm going to start by creating the HTML code first, a little bit like the structure, and then we are going to move to the CSS. Right, so we have a section of cards, and then in each card we have an image, title, text, button, and this text over the image. Right, so I'm going to create a new div. I'm going to start by adding class names, so we know class. Okay, so this is, I'm just gonna call it cocktails, okay? And here we could call it cocktail section, and then cocktails. And then within this one, we are gonna have a div where we have class name. This is going to be each cocktail, okay? If this is like a bit confusing because we have cocktails and cocktail can look the same, you can always do cocktail single. And then within this one, let's see, we are going to divide this. Let me just come here, just create a rectangular. So I'm just going to show you the structure of this, okay? So we have, at first we have this section, we have a div. Sorry, we have a div with, we will have a div with this image and this text here. And then we could have a different div here with all of this content. So a div for the image and a div for the content. And within the div for the content, we could have here the title. Okay, so this could be not a div, this could be just like H3. Then we have a P, a paragraph. Okay, so this is going to be flexible, so this could expand in the height, like adjust. And then we are going to have a button here. Okay, I'm realizing I'm saying okay too many times, so I'm gonna try to stop that. In the image we're going to have this text like overlapping the image, and this is our structure. Let's go to the code. So cocktail single, this, I'm just gonna call this image or cocktail image. And then within this we are gonna have an image rc. Let's just leave it like this for the moment. Let's just add an alt so we don't forget about that. And then we are going to have this could probably be a span. So yeah, let's just start by a span, otherwise we can change this. Okay, and I'm gonna come here and okay, then we are gonna have another div here. And class name, too used to React, class, and this is going to be our cocktail content. So cocktail content, and now we have an H3 margarita. And then we have a paragraph. Let's just copy all of this and come here and paste it. And then we said that we are going to have here this button at the bottom. Okay. Sorry. Why did that? And then read more. This button is going to be type button because it's just only a button. And you have other types. So we have the read more. Let's just save this and let's have a look. So this is how it's looking at the moment. Let's carry on adding all of these sections and also adding the image here. So in the alt, I'm going to add margarita here. Tell image, just like this, and I'm going to create a new folder for my images here. Here, images, just like that. So you want to go to the here, if you can see, you can hover over and you have this cursor, that means that this is a link. So if you click on it, it's going to take you to the site where you can download this image. But I'll probably leave everything in the description box below either way, but I just want to let you know how you could do it. So this takes you to the page to his page, and now here you can come and download this for free. So you can choose small is fine for us, but you could choose medium or large, and all of this is free to use as long as you give the attribution to the photographer. So let's come to here, images. I have all my images ready. So now I'm just gonna select all of them and bring them to the images page. And by the way, in case that your images are in Figma in the design file, you could come to here, export, clicking export like this, and you could export the image. So you will make sure that you're exporting the image like in the exact format, right? Like how we see it here. You could click in export image. Okay, I just exported to the folder of my file because I want to show you how it looks like. So let's come here. I think I close it. So open dot, and here it is. So this is how you will export exactly in the same resolution, in the same size. This is not what we want because I want to show you how we can do this mask where you have a layer and you have the image where it spans, which it covers the whole space. So I'm just gonna remove this and just come to here. Okay, I have all the images. Good. And now in image here, I just need to write the relative path. So dot slash images, and then I think it was this one. Okay, let's just save it, reload the page, and indeed this is the margarita, right? This is our image. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this cocktail single, paste it. I'm just gonna paste it 3 more times, okay? I come here, select the name, and if you come here, you see this accordion, like this chevron. These are like, they were like accordion, right? So you could close them or open them, okay? So I'm just gonna close them just to make it easier for me to read my code. So I have here the margarita one, and then here we could have the mojito one. Mojito. Just like that. And then here I'm going to paste the text. And I only need this bit here. She will go here. Cool. Okay, let's just save it. Have a look at how this looks like. Probably all the images are going to be huge, but we'll fix that in a minute. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to show you how to add comments to your HTML, which you probably can see them here. You see, you can add comments like this. You just need to write these tags at the beginning and at the end. So we could come to the top of each cocktail. I want to type here mojito, and I could just double click on the word or select it, and then I think it's shift option A. Yes, so shift option A in Mac in Visual Studio Code, and it will add the comment for you like this with the tags. And if we can do the same for the margarita. I'm just doing this so it's easy for us to read our code, well, which each section is for. And then this one is Piña Colada, okay. And then I'm just realizing that we have the wrong title here, okay, so let's just correct this. And this is daiquiri or daiquiri. I think people in the UK call it daiquiri, but I think it's actually pronounced daiquiri, so as you wish. Daiquiri, okay. Okay, cool, and yes. Let's just come and Just gonna copy this. Oh, not sure what I did. Okay. And I'm just gonna paste it here, here. Just like this. And let's just come to the design again one more time. We need this. Let's just copy it. Okay. Now that we are here, let's just copy this text. And the same with this. Just select it all, copy it, and photo by Maria Yurkiva. Okay, let's just paste it here. And with this, I think we should be good to go for now with all the text. Okay. Okay, we have mojito, piña colada, and daiquiri. So in this keyword, I don't have the eng, this character here, so IN is fine. So let's just come here and start importing our images. So we have the image for Margarita. Okay, so now mojito. And this is by Brian Jones. Okay, this is not this image. So okay, so let's just come. If you click enter in each file that you have here, you will go into the rename settings, so then you could just copy the name just like that. So here, and then just close this one now. Just close it, and the last one, our daiquiri. Oops, I'm just realizing that I think when you do that to the rename, it excludes the format of the file. So if you click here, you can actually do Command A to select everything, or otherwise you are only selecting the name and not the, or you could just select the name and then make sure that you are not removing this format, which I didn't realize it. So now I need to come back here and paste it in all of them. Okay, so okay, let me close this one. Let me make it a bit smaller. So there you go, our 4 cocktails. Let's reload the page, and here they are. As you can see, they all have different sizes, but that is not going to be a problem for us because we are going to learn how to display the images in the exactly size that we want. Okay, so I think the HTML is all ready. Yes, it looks like it's all ready. So I think it's time now to talk about CSS. So the reason why I create a styles folder here is because I quite like to have everything really organized, and the images should be in the image folder, all the styles should be within the styles, and so on. And if you're working a bigger project, you'll probably want to create more folders like that wrap this one. So for example, you could have a static for static assets, that it could be the images or even the styles sometimes. So in styles, you could come here and create a new file, styles.css, and just like this, right? Something else I wanted to show you in this video is how to use your custom fonts or any font that you might have in your computer. Choosing the right font for your project, the typeface, is essential. The fonts adds a lot of value to your text. So if we come here, we can see we have dim contents that we are using here, and then for the text we use the Pro Regular, and this one here I think is Pro Regular Light. So I'm going to show you how you can use any font that you want, so you don't have to rely on the typical fonts that come by default, like Helvetica or Times New Roman and so on, and even use the Google fonts like this one. Okay, what I'm going to show you, you can use it for any font, even if you have a custom font for your own brand or product or whatever. It's probably likely that if you are working with a design team, they will send you the files, the files of the fonts, but they will probably send you a different file than what you need for the browser. They will send you a file that your computer and the design tools can read. But for the browser, we need a specific file. So I'm going to show you how to convert these files that we can find in our computer. We have these fonts installed into a format that our browsers can read. So to do that, first, I'm going to come here and look for font book. Font book, okay, I'm going to open this. And these are all the fonts that we have installed, all of these ones. So for example, the ones that I'm using for this project are Thin Condensed Regular, Thin Pro Regular and Light, and just clicking all fonts so you make sure you are seeing all of the fonts that you have. In my case, I have quite a few installed. So I'm just gonna look for Thin. And these are the ones that I have here that I want to use. I want to use the regular, the light, and this regular here. Okay, so I can right click and show in Finder. And here I have this file. So this is what I was saying, that this is the format that our computer and other design tools use, OTF, and also TTF is called. Both of them are quite common for those tools, but for the browser we cannot use those ones. We need a different format. The format that we need is WOV, like this, or WOV2, which is a bit more advanced. So what I'm gonna do is type convert OTF to WOV, and let's go to, for example, this one. And you want to learn more about the different types of fonts that you can have, go ahead, it's quite interesting. Okay, so I can click in choose file, and now I'm going to navigate into where I have it. In this case, I just have it here in fonts. Then condense, so I need this one, so I'm gonna click here in open, convert to WOV2, download, okay? I'm going to need more, I'm going to need 2 more, so choose file again. Let's just come here, and I need this one, so let's just convert it. Let's go back and select another one. Okay, and now I need the regular, the Pro medium. Is it the same? No, it's regular. Okay, so the regular one, so the Pro regular. which I reckon is this one. So because it's the regular, it's probably by default the one that doesn't have name, maybe. Okay, and I think the next one that I need is this one. Okay, download. So I'm just gonna put them all together in the same folder. Let's just come here, and in styles I'm going to create another folder that is fonts, and I'm just gonna show you what this has download for us. So I have it here ready, OTF, TTF format, and the format that we specify, and we have here a style.css file as well, which it has this. Okay, we are going to be using this bit, but let's just close it, we don't really need this. Okay, so I'm just gonna move them here because we are gonna need that. I'm going to get rid of all the spaces that we have around them. So this one seems okay, this one the same, but this one has spaces around. Okay, just like this. And now I'm going to move these three to my folder in my project. And styles, fonts, here they are. Okay, so we go to our fonts folder, we can see them, the three of them here. And now here at the top, we are going to write this code that we were seeing here. Let me just open it again. We are going to need this. So this is how we are defining our fonts family. And we can define it here at the top. In the CSS values, we can also add comments. So you could add a comment here for fonts, or even font source. Oops. Here we need to add the correct path, which is fonts. And yeah, this one, and then format. And there are more things that we can add here. For example, font weight. And this is light, so let's just say 100. And then font style, and this is going to be italic. And we will need to do the same for the other three other three fonts that we have. Okay, so I come here, I'm just gonna copy this. And also here. And this is regular, so this is going to be 500, and this is the style is going to be normal. And then I have the Dim Pro, which this is also a regular. So, okay, I can just leave this just like that. So I could say Dim Condense regular, okay, Dim Pro. I think I'm just gonna copy this, okay, and regular. Let's just copy like this format. Okay, so now we have our fonts defined. So the font family, we can give here, as we can see, any name that we want. And then the source, we specify here where our file is in our path. And the format, which is WOV22 in this case. Font weight 500, font style normal. If we had more formats that we want to add here for more compatibility, we could add them here. as many as we want actually. So it's actually quite useful when we have WOF 2 and WOF, just like this. But in this case no, like just like this, but with WOF 2 should be enough for us. Okay, and now if we come here and we say font family, and let's just say our font is, this is the one that we are using for the title, right? So actually, because this is regular, I think I'm just gonna remove the regular bit, because it's just like by default one. This one is like italic, so that's fine, but this one just like this. Oh, sorry, I meant to put it here and save it, come to our site here, refresh, and we can see that our font has updated. And let me remove this background red because it looks really ugly. And refresh, there you go. Now we have our font working. So it's as simple as this. So let's recap what we did. What we did is we need to have the files of our fonts, whatever that format is. Just think like there is always going to be a website in Google where you can convert files, okay? So you have them in OTF or TTF or so. Just go to Google, type convert to WOF. You can choose any site. This was the first one that I found that it was working. Some of them, they ask you for premium and all of that, but this one seems to be working and with like for free completely, right? Okay, so you convert them to the right format that the browser needs, which is WOF or WOF 2. You come here, you put them in your project, and then you define here your font face, right? So you can have here as many as you want. You could, I mean, in the designs we are not using it, but for example, this one, you come here and you open this regular, you can see that we have condensed light, condensed regular, medium. You can have all of them here. And then you just need to define them like this. H1, you could say font family is this condensed, but then maybe, I think in the H3, no, it's in the paragraph, but here in the H3, we also use dim condensed, but then for the paragraphs, for these paragraphs here, we use the dim pro. So dim pro, then update this to paragraph, we save it. We need to reload our page, and we can see here that we have our font. It's good to also add other fallbacks fonts just in case this one is not available. If something goes wrong and this one and your user cannot download this font, it's good to specify what would you want the browser to do instead. What other fonts do you want them to use? So for example, here in the paragraphs, we could specify dim pro, and then if this one is not available, let's just use the Poppins one, for example, or even you could even say another font that you have within your project, and then, for example, Open Sans, and then always end with the generic family. So, for example, sans serif. Okay, so the way that this works is the browser will check if this one is available first and if it can read this font. If it cannot, it will go to the next one and then to the next one and so on, until we go to this one that is the generic family. With this, what we are saying to the browser is if all of these fonts are not available, what the browser will do is the browser will pick for you a sans serif equivalent font that the user has installed in his computer. Okay, so now that we have our fonts in our project and they are working, let's carry on creating the CSS. So let's come here and let's just look at this. Okay, so this text here is 64 pixels. So that is our H2. So let's come and font size 62 pixels. Then this text, this is 24 pixels, and the paragraph is 16 pixels, and our button is 20 pixels, okay? So 24, 16, and 20. So font size, I'm just gonna copy this, and 24 for our H3s. We could be more specific if we have other H3s in the page. and just add these styles only for the cards, which will be probably better to do that. And something else is, you see that here, I'm just gonna remove this, I'm just gonna leave them just like this. And we can see that we have the condensed for the H2 and the H3. A good practice is to combine both of them like this, so we only define it once. So we can remove it from here and from here. And I think also our buttons will be condensed. So let's just come to our site and make sure that this is all working. Okay, yes, I can see our styles coming through. The only thing is this span here that we will look at that in a second. But all of this seems to be working. Cool. So, just come and let's just pick this. Okay, let's just copy this class name. Come to our styles. It's gonna come down here. So dot to select this class. And here inside is where I'm going to write all the styles specific to our cards. So let's say H2, we want our H2 to be center, so test align center, and we also want our H2 to be width 100%. Okay, I cannot do it like that. Okay, so just come here and I'm just gonna start by defining our H2. So our H2 is going to be, so you see how I'm doing it here. First, I'm selecting the class, the parent class, which is cocktail selection, then a space, and I'm selecting the tag H2. And then within here, I'm going to say the width is 100%, and then I want the text to align center, and then, oops, let's come to here, and now it's aligned center, and now I want our section, actually, maybe I should have started by that. I want this section to have a fixed width, or a max fixed width, actually. So we're going to say max width, okay, and come to our design and select this width here. So the width of our frame. So this is 1728, so 1728 pixels. This is our max width. Our width is going to be 100%. And in order to make sure that everything is centered in the middle, we are just going to say margin auto. Okay, this should be 100%. And we can see that it's central in the middle. Just close this. Just gonna leave it here, and let me see if I can put both things side by side. Kind of like this, okay, yeah. So now we were defining here the max width of our document, of our page. But actually, I think it's probably better if we have this in the body. So let's just move this outside, move it to the body, I mean. Okay, and now to here I'm gonna say position relative, and we should probably have some padding around, similar to what we have here. So this section, so we can see here, it has like all of this padding around. So let's have a look and see how much is this padding. So we could select this document and then we can see here that is 85. So we come here and position, padding 85 pixels. Okay. Okay, and now let's just add the styles for each card. So I'm gonna come to the document, to the HTML and select, we want to select cocktail single, cocktail image and content. So yeah, okay, I'm going to select this first, cocktail section, okay, cocktails, cocktail single, like this, okay? And for now, I'm just gonna give it a width of, we have 4 cards here, let's just say 25%. And the height, let's just have a look of the height of our card. This is 175, let's say 600 pixels. We can see that they became a little bit smaller, although the image is really big around. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna copy this, and within here I'm going to say cocktail image. Yes, cocktail image, and this width is going to be 100%. Okay, with 100%, the height, let's just have a look at what the height is. So the height is 200, and this is, okay, so if in total we have 600 pixels height and our image is 200, I will say that we want this to be a 40%, 60%. So we could have here a 40%, and then in the content, so it would be like this, but in still image here, content, we want this to be a 60%. So just save it and reload the page. Okay, a few things have adjusted, and now I'm just gonna add a position relative here. Okay, so now here in the image, what we want to do is we want to say object fit, and this is going to be cover, and then object position 50% and 50%, width 100%, height 100%, and position relative, like this. Okay, so what this is doing, let me just save it and show you. Okay, so what this is doing is positioning our image within our container, within our this cocktail image container. So here we are saying that the object fit, we want it to be covered, so we want it to be covering the whole container, and the position 50%, and this means like in the X is 50 and in the Y is 50, right? With 100% and height 100%. Okay, so as we can see here, this is not respecting the height that we specify. So there are a few more things that we need to do, but one of them is we need to say overflow hidden, and okay, and now I'm going to show you how display flex works, because I think it's going to allow us to fix a few issues that we have here. And so, as I was saying, display flex is a new way of laying down the different containers and sections that we have in our site. A flexbox layout is a direction agnostic and single direction layout concept. We allow the container to lay its items in horizontal rows or vertical rows and change its width, height and more to best fill the available space. A flex container expands items to fill available free space or shrink them to prevent overflow. FlexBox is a whole module and not a single property. So this means that they have their entire set of properties. We define some of them in the parent element and others in the children's element, and we'll see in a minute how this works. With flex direction, we define whether we want our items to be displayed in a row or a column. The flex wrapped property lets us wrap our elements and jump to the second line if we cannot fit all our items in one line or column. And this is exactly what we need to display our cards. So let's have a look at the design. Our whole section, we could say that is a column. We have our title and then we have this row of items, but this is a column. Okay? We have a column with 2 rows. Then our cocktails, this is a row of items. So we have 1 row with 5 columns. And then within each cocktail card, this would be a column where we have an image and then the content. So let's recap. We have a column, then a row, and then each of them is a column. So now we can go back to our code and let's create a new section here for all our cocktails. Okay, so let's come here, cocktails. When we want to display a flex, it's as simple as saying display equal flex. Okay, this is going to display a flex. Let's just leave it. No. Let me just move this. And now we need to specify the direction. So flex direction, and this is a column. I'm just going to actually put it in the body because if we have more sections in the body, I want the body to be a column with rows of sections. So here I'm going to say display. Okay, display flex. And now I need to specify the direction. So flex direction column, which by default was already a column. That's why this hasn't changed. And just for good practices, I'm going to specify here position relative as well. And now we were saying that our cocktails should be a row. So I'm just going to select our cocktails, come to here, and just say display flex. Flex direction here is going to be a row in this case. So this is how it's looking like. Okay, and there are more properties that we can add here. As we were saying, this is a module. So we are gonna say gap, and the gap between ours, let's just check the design just for reference. The gap is going to be not sure why it's not telling me at the moment. Okay, 64 is our gap. Okay, so what I did is I selected both cars and then I clicked in the middle here. Okay, I don't even need to click, I just hover over here and it says 64, and this is how I can move them actually, make them smaller. Okay, so 64 pixels. Okay, this is how it's looking like. And I'm just gonna say justify content center. Just to ensure it's going to be center, justify in the middle. So now that we have that, let's go to our cocktail single card, and here I'm going to select this color, which is the background. I'm just gonna copy it, and by the way, something that I haven't showed you yet is that there is a tab here that is called Inspect. And this is actually a tab that we will want to use to check all the CSS of our design. So I can copy this, and I'm going to need this box shadow as well, so I'm just gonna copy these two things, come to our CSS and just paste it here. Let's refresh, and this is how it's looking like. And we were also saying that this is a display flex. In this case, it's by default. We actually don't need to specify it, but let's just do it so we get used to how the syntax is. So display flex, flex direction, column. Okay, let's just come and let's just reload this. And I can see already that there is a margin here, like quite a big margin, more than what I would like. And then yeah, so I'm just gonna get rid of all of these margins that comes by default. So I'm just gonna go up, and I think here where we have H2, H3 and button, I'm just gonna say margin 0. Gonna refresh, and okay, this looks a bit better. And now we lost the margin that we had here in the title, so I'm just gonna add it manually. This is just so we ensure that we add the margin that we actually want, so we don't have any styles there by default. So margin bottom, I'm just gonna say 50 pixels. If we go back to the design, let's just have a look at what we have. We have some padding here around, which I will say this is 20 pixels. And then we have padding at the bottom as well, and some margin between the title and the text. So let's do that. Let's come to our cocktail single, and let's go to, yes, to our content. So here we are gonna set padding 20 pixels. Okay, and here we can also say display flex direction. This is also a column. Okay, and I want to align the items to the start. So align items flex start. And I'm going to show you here in the inspector the differences between the other values that we can add to align items. So we come here to cocktail content, right? And I think it's where I am, single content. Okay, now I can see it, flex start. So if I click here, right? You see how we can see the differences between the different values. Okay, so I really like using the inspector to do CSS because you can see it live, all the changes you are doing. And you can also come here, click there, and you can see all the different settings that we can have, that we can add. Okay, so now let's refresh, and this is what we want. Okay, so this is the content, and now we want our button to be fixed at the bottom and to have this look and feel, which is 100% of the width of the card minus this padding that we have here at the top. I mean, in this whole content, which we said it was 20 pixels. Okay, so and all the buttons are in the same position at the bottom of the card. And yes, so let's do this. So let's come to our code, and I'm just going to copy all of this and now just add button. We could have a specific class for button, that would be the best, but we only have one button in this card, so let's just do it like this. And now we are going to say with, okay, and this is a really nice function, which is you can calculate what is the size if we say 100% minus 20 pixels because of the padding that we have here, this padding. Okay, and this is going to do it for us. So we reload. Let me just see why this is not picking it up. Oh, I'm missing here the semicolon. No. calc 100% 20. Am I missing pixels? Yes, I was missing pixels. Okay, and the text is all uppercase. We have a border around and the button is white. So I'm just gonna copy this, come here, border, this is equal to 1 pixel solid and this color. And then the color that we have here is probably a 333. Although we can actually have a look, what is this color? Okay, let's just copy this color. And we could actually define this color by default. So if we come here, we could say this and this. Sorry, we could say color equal to this color. Okay. So we don't need this. But still background white. And we can specify that we mean background color. Okay, and let's have a look at the height. So the height is 41 pixels with 71. Let's say 40 pixels. And yeah, height 40 pixels. We want the text to be all uppercase, so text transform uppercase. Okay, and our text should be align, text align to the left. And I'm just realizing that I want this text to be a little bit more bold. So I'm not sure if it is because here I should have used 900. Let's have a look. Oh, this is not good. Just made the opposite. Let's go back to 500. Weird. Let's just remove this completely. Okay, yes. I think I'm just gonna remove that completely. Just leave it exactly how it comes from the file. And still I want here to have a padding left of probably 15 pixels. Let's have a look. Okay, yes, we could have a look at all of these things in the design. For example, here it says 17 pixels, so let's say 16. So it's a pair number. And the font size that we want, font size, let's have a look what font size we have. This is a 20 pixels and line height 24. Okay, so 20 pixels. And I'm not sure if this is going to make any difference, but font weight 700. Okay, this is looking a little bit more bold. Can you see? Okay, so we can see here how this button becomes a lot smaller because it doesn't just to fit within our card. So we need to make a few changes to have a fixed height text and the button in the same position. So to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two things. One, in the button, I'm going to say position absolute. And every time that I add a position absolute to an element, I need to ensure that the parent, in this case cocktail content, has a position relative. Okay? And now I'm going to say bottom, which this is where I'm going to define here where I want to position this button, you know, starting from the bottom. So let's say 20 pixels and reload this page. And now I can see all my buttons in the same line. They are all in the same line starting from the bottom, but I want the button to start to be in the right side of the card. So you cannot quite see it maybe here because of the color of this card is really similar to the background. So let me just change it. Okay, so this is what is happening at the moment. Okay, this is more clear. So maybe I'm just gonna change the card to this color just for the moment, just so it's easy for you to see it, what is going on. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna come here to the button, I'm going to say write 0. And write 0, why is this not working? Okay, let's have a look why this is not working. This is overlapping and okay, 64 pixels, maybe it's a bit too much, but this is definitely not the issue. So 45 pixels, okay. Position absolute, right 0, okay. Cocktail content. Okay, so I think, yeah, let's remove this width from the cocktail content, okay? Let's just come here. As you can see, CSS sometimes is about playing around a little bit, just trying different things and see what it works. So I'm just going to remove that, and I just remove the width 100% from the cocktail content. And because what was happening is I was forcing the content of this container to be 100% the size, and that's not what I want, right? Because I don't want the text to just expand to complete the 100%, and the same with this. So okay, so this looks better now. I still have a problem here. Can you see that the image, this is not respecting the height? These two are not respecting the height, so I need to adjust that. Right. Okay, so let me just refresh still. Okay, so let's just inspect the element. 200, 124. Okay, so it seems like some of them is respecting height, some of them are not. So let's go to the image here. So we are saying that this is a 40% and this is a 60%. Cool, okay. Let's just change this one for 250 pixels height. And it still doesn't seem to like it. Okay. So I'm gonna come to cocktails, single, okay, cocktail single, and defining here the height. I think probably this text is pushing the card. So we see here how this text might be pushing it. Yes, so this text is the problem that is pushing the card. Okay, so let's correct that, because that is actually the other thing that I was telling you, that I wanted to, that we needed to do something in order to maintain always the same height for the text. So I'm gonna come here and select the paragraph. So we need all of this. Just gonna put it up here and P. Okay, so what I want to do here is specify how many lines I want to display, and then if the length of the text is longer than that, we will see ellipses like the 3 dots, so it will cut our text. But we have here a read more button, so don't worry, the user could click and read more and read the whole text and more content. And so in paragraphs, first we are going to say display, and here is going to be WebKit box. Okay, I'm going to say overflow hidden because we want to like hide all the text that we want to cut. And now WebKit line clam, and this is a really nice feature. This is where we can specify how many lines. So let's just say 5 for now. And we need one more, that is WebKit orientation box orient and vertical. This is what we need. Okay, let's just save this and come to our site. And this is how it works. You see how all our text has been cut after the line, the fifth line. So we only see 5 lines. But let's say we want to see 10 lines. Okay, or maybe we can fit one more. Okay, yes, and now our images are also displaying correctly. Cool, so we are almost there. We have a few more things to go. One of the things that now we can change is the color, this color here. So let's go back to our design, select the color, this one, copy it. There you go. Oops. Okay, now, yeah. Okay, so what else do we need to do? We need to add this layer here at the top of the image, and also when we hover over the cars, we want to display a little bit bigger. And finally, we will do the responsive. Okay, so let's start by adding this, this layer here. So we come to our code, and if we go to the HTML, we have here a span. Let's just add a class and say author, or photo info, just like this. So I'm gonna copy it, and style, and I think it's within the image, right? The image div, yes it is. So oops. So I'm just gonna copy all of this. And now, okay, I'm going to say background color. Gonna select this color here. So come here and select this. Okay, the color of the text is white. And I want this to be also a position absolute. Bottom 0 and right 0, okay? Because I wanted to start in the right and bottom side of the image. Cool. And let's just add a bit of padding. Five pixels. Okay, and I think we are missing our font, and we said that here we want to use the light version, so this one here. So let's just copy this, just paste it, and as we said, we should be adding more specific fonts here as a fallback. Cool, this looks better. Now I'm just wondering why we cannot see this photo by text in all of our other images. So let's just inspect the element. Okay, it's there, but okay, so oh, right, okay. I added the class here in the first image, but I didn't add this class to all of our other image sections. So I'm just gonna come, and actually I'm just gonna search for a span. Okay, and then next one, I think it's only one more. Okay. Okay, this looks a bit better, right? And let's just close this, and yeah, it's looking quite similar to our design. So now let's just add the hover this styles, starting by the button actually, because we also want to add here, when you click this is a button, so we should have a pointer and also a hover, just to let the user know that this is an interactive element. So cursor, pointer, okay, pointer now. And now I want, I'm just gonna copy this, copy, and let's just say the background color, we want it to be this one. The color is now going to be white, and we are going to have an animation. And to have an animation between it change from when the user is hovering or hovering over and out, we can set transition, and in this case let's say all, yes, let's just say all 500 and easy in out. Okay, let's just save it, just reload, and I think background color, okay, I'm forgetting here. Okay, so I just copy and paste and I forgot to add the hover, so let's just add colon and hover. Okay, this is what it's going to do is in our button, this is a special selector, so when you are in the hover functionality, these are the styles that will apply. So if we save this and we reload, okay, now we have that by default styles, and only when we hover over is when we see these new styles applied. Okay, okay, and this is actually a little bit too dark. I think I'm just gonna go with the 333. Cool, and I'm going to say, did I go border none when we are hovering over. Cool, okay. Let's go back to our design, and we were seeing here that when we hover over the whole card, we have the card becomes slightly bigger, right? So let's do that. Gonna select our card, and now we can say, to do that we can do transform and then scale 3D and say 1.1. I just wanted to make it slightly bigger than the real size, so 1.1.1. okay, and save it, reload, and again I forgot to add the hover, so again we need to add here hover. Save it again and reload, and this is how it looks like. Okay, I'm just seeing that when we are hovering over, the box shadow is expanding way too much. So let's just edit that. So 57 pixels, I'm just gonna say 27. So in this case, I'm working on my own design, but if I was working with designers and designers were the ones that sent me this design, and I think like it doesn't look quite right, the ones that I'm building in the site, I will have a chat with them and just let them know that, what do you think, it will reduce the blur pixels of the box shadow, because it just doesn't look quite right how it's specifying the design, and then you just can have a conversation about it and try different things. The something is like that in the design says that it has to be 8 pixels or 7 pixels, doesn't mean that you actually have to build it like that. You need to make it as close as possible. But if some things, when you are building in the site, sometimes it doesn't look quite the same as in as design software, right? Like there are differences. So you can always have a conversation with the design team about these kind of things. So let's just say 27 pixels, reload, and I think now it looks a little bit better. I'm not sure you can appreciate it because I'm screen sharing, but I could say that the blurry of the card, it was just like overlapping the next card. And let's go back to the side, make sure we haven't forgotten anything. Okay, we also said that when we are hovering over this color, the work shadows becomes slightly darker, so I'm going to add that. And I remember that it was 0.17, okay? And then just one more thing left to do, which is the responsive. So let's come here and box shadow, I'm gonna copy all of this and come to our hover section and say 17 pixels here. Save it, and yeah, it looks a little bit more. It stands out a little bit more now, our card. And okay, so to add responsive, we need to use media queries. To define our media query, we need to type add media, and then we set a screen, and I want to specify the max width, and let's say 1350 pixels. So basically what this does is all the code that I have here by default would apply, and everything that I put inside here that the screen size, that the width of the screen size is less than 1350 pixels will apply. I say it again. So everything that I have outside would apply to all the screens if I don't add exceptions. So when I'm adding exceptions like this, when I'm saying when I'm using the media query selector, I'm saying the screen. So select the screen, and what I'm doing here is specifying all the styles that I want to apply to those screens that their width is less than 1350 pixels. Okay? Okay, so here we are going to start adding the values for when our max width is 1350 pixels. So let me just go to the site here, and I'm going to open the inspector just to show you the size of the screen that you can see at the top right corner. So there, yeah, where it's set 1278, so now 1225, 24, 11, and so, okay. Okay, so first, for our first breakpoint for the 1350, we want to make to add a few changes to make it more responsive. For example, reducing the gap between the items. So we could select cocktail section and then cocktails, and then let's say gap 30 or even 20 pixels, and by the way, this gap is a property that we have when we use display flex, and is the space that we have between the items. Okay, 15. It still looks a little bit too big, but okay. Okay, let's just reduce the general gap that we have, because 64 pixels is quite a lot, I think. So let's just say 45 pixels. And yeah, I think this looks better now. And now if we resize the screen, we can see that the gap becomes a bit smaller. And now I'm going to come here and copy this and remove the hover part, just paste it here, and I'm going to change 27 pixels for 11 to make the blur size a little bit smaller. And yeah, we also don't need this transform here. Okay, so now I'm going to add another breakpoint here, 1024, and remove this. And let's go back to the inspector, open this, and so from this point, like for example here, okay, from here we want we want this padding to be a lot smaller because at the moment it's quite big. So I'm going to say cocktail section, and this is going to be, and this is padding 30 pixels. This is looking better, but I think maybe for this screen we should have 2 columns rather than 4, so the cards will look a bit bigger. Okay, so let's say cocktail section and cocktails, and then cocktail single, and then the width is going to be the calculation 100% minus the gap that we want to have between our items. So that we should define it now actually. So let's say cocktails, let me copy this, cocktail section cocktails, and the gap is going to be 30 pixels. So now here we can say 60 pixels. And now because we are making this 50%, we want our row to wrap our items, so to jump our items to the second line. So we need to define flex wrapped to wrap. And now we can see our whole image expanding. This is not exactly what we want, so let's have a look at the code, see what we did. Okay, so yeah, so here we are saying 100%, but we actually want 50%. Because we want to have 2 cars per row. Okay, this looks better, but I think, okay, let's increase the gap between the elements, and here it should actually be 50 pixels. Okay, this looks definitely much better. Okay, so now if we go to a smaller screen, we can see how the cars become more and more narrow. And let's just go to iPhone 12 Pro. We can see that the cards are really tiny and we cannot even read the text properly. And we want to have this design that we have here. So let's do that. Let's add another breakpoint here. Let's type here add media screen and max width. And in this case, let's say 500 pixels. Okay, so as you can see, what we are doing is overwriting. So this part is going to have priority over this one and over this one as well. So all the devices that are less than 500 pixels. So for example, here, if we copy this here and we change it to 20 pixels, okay, the screens that will have this padding of 30 pixels will be all the screens that go from 500 pixels to 1024 pixels. Okay, let's just leave it like this. 20 pixels, let's have a look. Cool. And I'm going to need all of this. So I'm just gonna copy it and paste it here. And in this case, we want this to be full width, so 100%. And we don't need this flash wrap because we are already specifying above, so we can remove it. Okay, let's reload. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. I think this is looking like the designs. Let's just recap quickly what we done. We added our fonts, our font face up at the top here of the file, and then we define the font family that we want to use for each tag. For H2, H3 a button, we want to use the dim condense, but for the paragraph, we want to use the dim pro. Then we add the styles for our body to make our make sure that our screen will be maximum 1728 pixels. So if the user has a bigger screen, the size of our WhatsApp it will still be it will still be 1728 or less. Then we are adding some values here to our cocktails section, and then some styles to our H2 title. And all of this is for our cocktails cards. So first, our cocktails cards is a row, so it's a display flex direction row that has a 45 pixels gap and is justified in the center. The content is justified in the center. Then our cocktail single card is a column, and we are adding here some box shadow to make it stand out, with a background here and fixed height, and the width is 25%, which we update this in the other breakpoints that we added. So by default in desktop would be 25%. And then in the image, what we are doing here in the image is we are creating our container, which is 250 pixels height and width 100%. And we make sure that you add overflow hidden to hide all the image that will remain, all the images that will be around the container. And then let's just move this up here, so because it made more sense to have it here. And then the image, we have the attribute of covering the object. So, and then the position is 50-50, width and height 100%, and position relative. And then we have photo info information, which is this layer here, where it has the position absolute, and it sits at the bottom at the right of our image container. And we have a specific font family we are using a specific font for this text. Then we have for the content, we specify the height 60%, and we have a padding, and the display flex here is a column where the items are aligned to the start. Then our paragraph, what we are doing is specifying how many lines we want to display. We want to display 11 lines, and anything that is more than 11 lines is going to be hidden, overflow hidden. And we are going to have these ellipses. Let me show you. Let me close this. And we are going to have this. Okay, and then we have the button. It has a fixed position, is also placed at the bottom of the card and has all of these styles. And then we have a hover for the button, which it changes the background color, and we also have a hover for the card itself, which it make a little bit bigger. And then at the bottom, we are adding all our breakpoints to override our styles for those screens, and just to create a responsive design. So in this case, I'm selecting these sizes, but you need to base this depending on what your user use. So it's important to have the WhatsApps up to date with the standards and what is happening in the market. Okay, so now let's demo what we have created. So this is our site. This is in desktop, as we can see. We hover over, we have these animations, and now let's resize the screen. So when we resize, everything becomes a little bit smaller, and at this point everything still looks good. Maybe there are a few improvements that we could do, which maybe we want to reduce the gap between the elements or the padding around, but it still looks good. So when we resize the screen a little bit more, now we have 2 items per row. Okay, so they become more visible, And if we carry on resizing, this is how it looks like until, okay, we jump into the mobile view, okay? And obviously when we are in mobile, we won't have these hoverovers, because in mobile you cannot hover over, but that is not a problem for us that we have it here like this. And let me just open the inspector and show you how it will look like in an actual device. Okay, so if we use the iPhone 12 Pro, this is how our site will look like. Now, if we go to our iPad Air, this is how it looks like in this orientation, in the vertical orientation, and now in horizontal, we will have like more similar of a desktop view. The mini, okay, and now let's go to a really small phone like this one. This is the iPhone SE, which only has 375 pixels width, and it still looks pretty good. And okay, yeah, everything seems to look quite good. So in this screen 450, I think it's because we put here 450. Let's just say this. So from 550 we want our card to be full width. Okay, so I think this is looking pretty good. As we can see, it looks really like the design. We have made a few adjustments just to make it look better, which that's great. All improvements are always welcome. I hope you had fun creating this display flex CSS tutorial. I hope that now you can start using your favorite fonts in the project. Also, carry on exploring Figma and get used to working with these kind of tools, as you probably will have to work with them in the future. Have a look at all the features it has and all the plugins. Sometimes there are plugins that it creates all the CSS, so you can just copy and paste it just to make this process a bit faster. Although if you are starting, I probably won't recommend that. But yeah, just carry on exploring. If you like this video, please leave me a comment down below with your feedback. Let me know what you like or what you didn't like, or how can I improve these videos. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and you might want to watch this video. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.